I am a complete master clockmaker. That's basically what I do. I start from design concept, I manufacture the movements and the cases both. I work from raw materials. I've been making clocks about 40 years now, over 40. It's been virtually my entire life as far as how I've created my income. So I started out in high school wood shop, had a very good wood shop teacher. From the woodworking background, I got into antique repair. From antique repair, I started making replacement parts. From making replacement parts, I started making new parts, and that's how I really learned it. I haven't had any formal schooling in machining, but just the woodworking, but as far as clockmaking, no. So I've just picked everything up, and there's been people who have been friends who have come in, and different engineers that have dropped little tidbits. When you look at anything manufactured, how many hands touch that product? When you're buying one of my clocks, it's an individual piece of artwork. It isn't a collaborative effort. That's what really makes the clock valuable. There's very few people in the clock industry that do that, and that makes each piece quite collectible. We've sold into France, Germany, Switzerland, England. Swiss was great. Selling the clock to the Swiss. I'm more moving towards retirement, which means that clockmaking has become more my hobby again versus a profession. The best way to explain about the creative process is I've never worked a day in my life. It is absolutely play. So that's been my career.
If you live in Sisters and you ever wear a watch or look at a clock, you might know Ed Beecham. He's here today with us, and he's the clock guy. I mean, you make clocks by hand, every little piece, correct?
Yeah, I confess it.
You say that, so yeah. Do you love it?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of awkward. Everybody says, "Are these kit clocks?" They're standing in the middle of a machine shop. You don't really want to embarrass them.
It's like an insult to say that for someone to say, like, wait
No,
a second,
these
that
aren't
took me
kits.
4 years to make that one clock.
How long does it take to make a clock?
Well, kind of the average turnaround time is between a year to 2 years. And a lot of people will come in and say, "Will you make me one?" So you're willing to pay for a year of work or 2 years of work on one clock? But it takes a lot just for the designing and ramping up and doing all your engineering and gear cutting. And generally, when we do them in series. So we'll cut a deck of gears at a time. So it goes a lot quicker that way.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what did your first clock look like? Was it a masterpiece, or was it just in shambles?
Well, it was high school, and of course in high school you're thinking about a lot of other things,
Girls.
Yeah.
What you're going to eat for lunch.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Marilyn Monroe-shaped clocks.
Yeah, I look at my first clock. It's actually in the store now, and my mom gave me strict instructions not to refinish it. It's a little embarrassing. You see planer marks on the side, a little bit of glue seams showing through. I mean, some of the cardinal no-nos you don't do once you're more professional. But I didn't know. I was a high school kid.
Yeah, but that was the beginning of what's been now a 40-year career.
Yeah. I'm up to 812, and we're just making another 30 pieces of one particular type of clock.
And so tell us what you do differently in your clock shop versus other clock makers. Is that even a correct term? Is there a term for it that I should have known?
Yeah, well, a lot of people are actually clock repairmen.
Yeah.
They repair what other people manufacture, and for them it's problematic if you have a broken gear. So there are a few places that run machine shops. What's really different about our operation is, and specifically what I do, is I'm what's classified in the industry as a complete master clockmaker. I start from a design concept, fabricate the movement, and when the movements are up and running, I go home and make cases. So I come in both metalworking and the woodworking fronts. And that's what's a little bit more unusual.
CMCM, Complete Master Clockmaker.
I like that. I like that.
The acronyms as we get it. You have to be
extremely... I could get some letters behind my name after all.
You should get a patch. I'm always encouraging people to get patches, but that's a side note. But you have to be extremely detail-oriented to do something like this and have patience of somebody that I do not have. I wish that I had, but you really do. You have to. No, it's going to be, when somebody orders one, it'll be a year of fine-tuning, so to speak. No play on words, but kind of.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little fun. In the story we just saw that our photographer Justin did, he had you saying, "Oh, we've sold to these countries and these countries all over." What's your proudest moment? of where a clock went.
Selling a clock to the Swiss.
Yeah. I know, we saw you in the feature get kind of a kick out of that when you said that.
That was really good. And the guy owned a watch factory, the Colmar Watch Factory. His name was Adolf Benz, a little short guy, very heavy German accent, wonderful guy. And he actually, we had shown the clock in a clock show in Orlando, Florida. And we won a first place in a craft competition there with it, and he bought it. And he didn't really believe we made everything. And so we invited him to stay out, and he wanted us to get a motel. Well, I said, no, you can just stay at our house. We have kind of a ranch. And he did. He came out, and he actually, my wood shop is at our home, so he actually got to see the wood shop first, and then he came in and saw the store and my gear cutters and all the other stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's in there shaking his head, and he said, you know, in Switzerland, nobody makes everything.
Really?
Yeah, they have dial makers who specialize in dials. Huh. And so you farm out your dial to somebody who, and they're, I mean, no, you can't beat their quality. You know, I can get it done, but not as professionally as someone who specializes just in
that
dials.
one little part.
Yeah, but
I mean,
I
there's
think that's...
anchor makers, there's plate makers, there's gear cutters. You know, everybody has their specialty.
Like a
some
Rolls
guy
Royce
that just,
maker.
somebody that just makes hairsprings for a watch.
But you do everything, and that's why we like you so much.
Oh, thank you.
So people, if you want to go see his work, go down to your shop and experience it firsthand. Thanks so much for being here.
Glad to be with you.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
We'll dance across the crystal floor into our love retreat. There's nothing in the world that could